Hello and welcome to this new YouTube video on my channel. Today's topic is going to be a very important one, and it is why you're unhappy or not successful, or in the worst case scenario, both of these. And the main reason why people are unhappy, not successful, or anything like that is because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Because no matter where you're at, I know people who are at the beginning, I know people who make millions per year or like hundreds of thousands per month, and both have the tendencies to be unhappy or not to be happy with the current situation. And where this oftentimes comes from is because they want to be somewhere else. So if you're making 0 per month or like a few K per month, you want to make 10 to 100K perhaps. But for example, this guy who's making 100K right now, he potentially wants to scale to 200, 300K, right? And the reason you're unhappy is because you most of the time or like often know how to get there, or what you should do in order to be getting there, like doing more work, doing more outreaches, talking to the right people, or just researching more, like doing more in order to know how to get there, but you don't do it. And this lack of execution, you not doing it or people not doing it, is the main reason why they are not happy, because it is just a fight against yourself. And every time okay, you set your to-do list, you set all the things that you should be doing, and in the end, you're just sitting there watching YouTube perhaps, or talking to someone, going out, going on parties and all that stuff, and you don't do it at all. And therefore, you're just going to get dragged into this negative cycle or this negative spiral of you losing respect for yourself because you're not doing the shit that you have to be doing or that you need to do in order to get to that next level. And you're aware of that, but you don't do it. And then it's just like, again, this whole downward spiral. And I say this a lot, but it's just important to repeat that because it is just the truth that the information is out there for free, or you can purchase it. Like whatever you need, you can get it. And still there are so many people who are not succeeding. And years ago, when I first got introduced to like this online world and all that stuff, and I bought Iman's course, which was back then not even Agency Navigator, but Agency Incubator, what he said in the mindset module was 95% of the times you don't have a business problem, you have a personal problem manifesting in your business. And I never really understood this just up until recently, once I started talking to so many people, once I started researching much more about psychology as well, like why do we do what we do or why do we not do what we do? And the crazy thing is that, yeah, it sounds true, right? It sounds logical. It's like you having an issue with execution is not a business problem, it's a you problem. But the thing is, the root of this whole thing is much deeper than just, okay, I'm just not executing and that's my whole problem, right? And this is what I mean with recently, I really understood what this means. And the prime example for this is I had this myself. I have people who I talk to on a regular basis who have these struggles. And this is like the most common example for me, like to show you what I mean by that, like that the root is much deeper. For example, you start your agency, you start your coaching program, even your e-commerce offer. It doesn't really matter what you start. We can all say that in 90% of the time, if not even more, it makes a lot of sense for you to start your personal brand as well. Record videos just like I record this one, talk about your business, educate people, provide value, do all of that stuff. And all of us are aware of it. All of us understand that it is important to do that. But what happens? I don't know, I'm just making this number up, but let's just say 80, 90% of people who know they should do this, don't do this. And the question is, why do they not do it? It's not like, oh, are they just lazy? Are they like, do they prefer doing other things, for example? Is that the real root of the issue, or is the root of the issue something much deeper? And most of the time, like 100% of the time, the root of the issue is much deeper. And in this particular example, it is very simple, which is fear of rejection. So I'm like, okay, you're struggling with creating content. What stops you from just recording this video and then uploading it on YouTube? Or Instagram? And then always what comes is, oh, but what will the others say? What if the quality is not high enough? What if this and that? And most of the time, it's just like fear of judgment. What will other people say if I don't do X, Y, Z? Or if I do X, Y, Z, if I post this video now? So your issue is not you being lazy. Your issue is like internally, intrinsically, you're others will think or what others will tell you when they see this video. And therefore your issue is being afraid of what the others will say. And it's not you being lazy, right? And the problem is that majority of the people are not It's most of the time fear of rejection. What will the other person say? Will they laugh at me? Will they just hang up on me? Like, what will they say? Or like this fear of failure or the fear of the unknown, because you have no clue what will happen if you've never done it before. And these subconscious fears is what's actually holding you back. And it's what makes you not succeed or makes you not win, right? And what you have to do is you have to become aware of this. And I will tell you another example as well, just so you can really understand how deep this can go. At a mastermind event, I met someone. He was running his agency. I won't go too much into detail and I will skip a few parts of the story, but you will understand what I mean. We were talking about his business and he said, hey man, like I asked him, why do you not promote your business on Instagram? His clients are people like me, for example, people who want to make more money, who need more leads, all of that stuff, right? And I'm like, your client is on Instagram. That's the easiest way you can reach me. Then he's like, nah, man, no distractions. I want to work. Like, I love working 24/7 when I wake up and stuff. I have not Instagram on my phone. I don't have Snapchat. I don't have anything. I only have use WhatsApp for half an hour at the end of the day. And this already rang a bell for me because I'm like, no matter who you are, you can't enjoy just working 24/7. It's impossible. Like that's a coping mechanism. That means like you're running away from something and you try to compensate that with work and just filling this gap. So I started like going deeper and deeper into it. And I'm like, okay, man, so tell me more about your service. Like how much you charge, how do you this, how do you that? And then he said like, yeah, I don't have a set price. Like it really depends on the client and stuff. And I'm like, okay, so tell me about the last client. And then I asked him about his competitors. And I was like, how much do your competitors charge? And his competitors charged like 5x what he charged. And then I asked him, okay, but are you as good as them? Like, could you be charging just based on the value that you provide as much as your competitors? And then he said, yeah, after like 3 weeks, I made one client 50K more or 60K. I'm like, okay, so if you make someone 60K just in 2 weeks, do you think it's fair to charge them 10K? Like, do you think it's fair to charge them as like what they others charge, like your competitors? He's like, yeah, it's fair. Like, so you can provide that value to people. And he's like, yeah, I can. So I'm like, okay, so why don't you charge that much then? And then he didn't know what to reply anymore. Then I told him, like, based on my experience and based on all the people I met and what I learned so far, I know what your issue is. And the issue is that you don't think you're worth charging 10K to a client. It's not like your service or anything like that. It's just you not being secure in yourself and you not actually believing in yourself that you're worth this much. Because he was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like I could never say, yeah, my service costs 10K. So his business problem of him not making more money is not actually him not being able to make more money or charge for his services because the services are not good enough. His issue is that he is afraid of charging more, which is a personal issue, again, which manifests in his business. And now we know that. And now the question is, okay, where does it actually come from? And then he said, yeah, man, so I dropped out of uni. And when I did it, like all my father always told me, or like the beliefs my father instilled in me was, whoever drops out of uni or doesn't finish uni and still makes it in life is either just lucky or a scammer. And he kind of got vaccinated with these thoughts in his mind of, if you make it and you did not finish university, you're either lucky or a scammer. And this just rose these self-limiting beliefs inside of him. So again, now we know the actual root of the problem, which is his relationship to his father, which stops him from charging more for his services. So now it's not like, okay, you have business problems of not charging more. Nah, man, you have like these internal problems in your bad relationship with your father, which now suddenly stops you from making more money. So now the question is, I hope you really understood it, like with this example, how deep this can go. And the question is now, like, how do you prevent this, or like, how can we fight against this? And this is what worked for me. This is something like I, for myself, came up with. Most probably someone else had it as well, but I never really heard it so far. And for me, it is like, I call it the 3 A's. So it is awareness, acceptance, and then action. Because what you have to do first, you have to become aware of that problem. I don't want to create content. I can't charge more. Why is that? Okay, that's most probably because of my fear of rejection. Let's just use or fear of judgment. Let's just use the short form of content example. And now I'm aware of that. And what is the next step? Because people think and I thought that as well, just knowing where the problem comes from will solve the problem. Well, that's not enough. Now you have to accept the problem. Now you have to say, okay, understand, I accept it. I accept that I'm that way. And I know I understand where this really comes from. And now, because you kind of made peace with yourself, you think this will help you as well. Whereas no, like it won't either. Like it's not enough. The problem is still there because it's again so deep in your subconscious that this is not enough either. So what do you do now? And the next thing is action. So how do you fight the problem? Or like, how do you solve this problem is by fighting it. So you're afraid of posting content because what the others will say. Okay, great. You know you're afraid of it. You know why you're afraid of it. And in the end, which is very simple, what you have to do is you have to say, I don't give a fuck. You still have to create that content. You still have to upload that content and be very conscious about whatever these people say or whoever might say anything. It doesn't matter, because everything you do for your greater goal. And this is what matters in the end. And it does not matter what anyone else says. It does not matter what sometimes even your parents think, man, because most of the time they don't understand us. They don't understand what we do and how we do it. And therefore, sometimes you should also just not listen to them, because they just want the best for you, and not always what they think the best is for you actually is the best for you. So you have to fight the root of the problem by just taking action and proving to yourself, hey, okay, it makes sense. Because what you need then is undeniable proof. Once you start creating the content, for example, or once you start like my marketing friend, for example, when you say, okay, I have undeniable proof now. I said, I generated a client 60K in 2-3 weeks. Like, this is proof. I can look at this and be like, okay, I'm actually I can actually charge that much. I can do all of this stuff, right? And when you have that proof, that's when you can always look at it. David Goggins refers to this as the cookie jar, right? So whenever you have these self-limiting beliefs, you can then look at it and be like, yes, I can do this. I've proven I can do it, and therefore I have to continue doing it. And this is kind of like summarize like why you're most probably unhappy, because you're not doing what you should be doing, no matter what level you're at. And the next problem is most of the time you don't even know what you're not doing and what you should be doing. You don't understand where the actual problem comes from. And now the question for you is, or like the task for you is, to just spend a lot of time thinking about, okay, what went wrong? Why am I not doing what I should be doing? And then how do we fight this? If you want to talk more about this, I'm quite good at identifying these things by now. You can reach out to me. You can send me a DM on Instagram. I will include a link in this, like below this video as well. You can always book a call with me. It's totally fine as for now. And I just want the best for you, man. I want to see you win. And I hope this video helped you. Please share if you think it helps or someone else should see this. I would appreciate a subscribe. I would appreciate a follow, a comment, and then I see you in the next video. Bye-bye.